together, the goals and objectives, and I was just asking, could some of what we wanted done, could it be done virtually if we have, people that don't live in the state that can't necessarily meet at the same time? Like, one of the things was chess, right? So if you join a chess club and you can show that you're participating, would that count? Or do you have to come in and play some of your brothers in chess? Or, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, just trying to figure out, because it's at least 3 or 4, I want to say, that's real pertinent. Like, yeah, I want to see you for your invention. I want to see how it worked and what got you there, and then of course you got to be there, at the final celebration. And can it be okay if you show up 4 times in the 6 months or something like that? Or is attendance mandatory for 3/4 or whatever we deem, because you just can't not participate and expect to complete.
So what I will say to that is that...
Yeah, I hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. What I would say that is that what we are learning right now is that we can do a lot of things virtually, I guess. But some things, of course, have to be done in person for the essence. So I would say that for those who are not in Durham or far from Durham, that there's a lot of things that you could do locally, like finding a drum class locally. But I hope that my plan is that we could also record some of these sessions that the boys are in, and that they could share them. Somebody's coming. I just admitted iPhone.
So the teacher, the drum teacher should speak for the student as to where they are and how far they've come. Have they reached any levels of, I guess, just showing their skills? You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't have to finish the class or be in a master class, but they have to, like, reach a certain goal. There has to be a certain goal that they're looking forward to reaching. And they could do that virtually. Because in my head, this is, like, to me, we're in war. And just because we're in war doesn't mean that we can't do rites of passage anymore. We just have to adapt. And the seriousness of it has to, like, show through. Like, everybody has to see how serious it is. So if they have to do the study on their own and take in the information and show that they've, digested it, then that's what we have to do. Like, by any means necessary.
Basically, I think that we would do that by recording the session that's going on here and then sharing that on the website. I think.
Okay, you could do it like that, but we also need a statement from the elder, who's the drum teacher in this case. You know what I'm saying? Like, the drum teacher has to, like, that's for instance, right?
And they'll say what they're, okay. So
whatever teacher has to speak for that student's reaching a particular level that they were going to reach, that they were looking forward to reaching when they started. So if you're going to be proficient in chess, the teacher has to say, well, they know all of the chess moves and they played several games. You know what I'm saying? You can take pictures and whatever, but the elder has to speak for the students.
Right, they have to demonstrate that they do know these things virtually.
Right.
Okay, I think that can be done. Does that answer your question, Brother Bilal?
Not just speak,
I was just looking, we have like a lot of key points, right? So let's just take the drumming that he's talking about. If you're in drumming, then that might be something that you have to participate in weekly, almost for 6 months, if you want to get through the class or you want to state the progress or whatever. I don't know if that's something that can be done once, twice, 3 times and get, like,
right.
Mark.
Well, I think at the very least,
it has to be like
is just at the very least is exposure and basic, like, foundational knowledge.
Okay.
Right.
In the case of chess, in the case of drumming. Now, in the case of their invention,
Right,
they have to have a final project.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Okay.
But it sounds like we're saying that at a minimum, each of the sessions is going to have a tangible outcome or product, right? And for each session, there's going to be some sort of designation of proficiency that's provided either by the facilitator or by the teacher, you know, of the particular class that the initiate is enrolled in. So there'll be a way for us to kind of determine across the board that this, you know, initiate has done what he's supposed to do and is ready to move forward, ready to progress. And at the end, the final ceremony on both ends, whether they attended, you know, all classes or some virtual, they all have kind of completed what was outlined for them to do based on what we have collectively decided.
I guess the main question here is how, and how would be just video and then posting that video.
Yeah.
So that's the best.
And I think a lot of it depends on that particular session and who the facilitator or the elder is or the person leading the session, you know, and then they're kind of guiding us on what it takes to become proficient or what it takes to have completed, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just the last thing to piggyback on what Hakeem was saying, we can be in the middle of war, but that's what this preparation is about. It's about preparing the young people for the unknown specifically, which is being able to, you know, set goals and attain them, being able to come together and form an alliance in order to, you know, do what's necessary, you know. So like, yeah, we got difficult times right now, but that can't stop the preparation. It might change how we prepare. It might change how we even attain some goals might be different, but the outcome, the goal still got to be the same. You know, how we achieve it, you know, may change. It may start off this way and move in a totally different direction, but at the end of the day, we still want to attain what the goals, put it like that. So yeah, I'm with him 100% on that. We can't let, just because we have social distancing and we don't have a specific classroom, that we can't have class. So.
Okay. All right. So should I dig into group 2?
Yeah.
Right. And I think what we need to do is we need to say, like, for those who are not in Durham, we need to be specific about, like, you know, what sessions will be recorded and what they need to do locally on their own in their community, what they need to find. And then they, you know.
Can I say one thing real quick?
Yes.
So I just wanted to say that I like the timeline. I like the thoughts in regards to it, but I still think in terms of trying to provide connectivity with the boys in some type of relationship, they need to interact. So even though I might live in a different state, there is technology to allow them to connect. So I know with Kanai, they're doing online learning, and he's got there's video conferencing that he's doing on a weekly basis, so sometimes even a daily basis. And so even if it's, and maybe you might not want to do it for the younger kids, but definitely with the older kids, making sure that they're connecting weekly via video. And that's their way to kind of connect and kind of build relationship and bonding, which I think are two important things that they need in order for them to feel like this is like a true rites of passage. Like they have gone through all of these different steps and these skills with these group of people. That's all.
Okay. So like maybe a mandatory FaceTime session once a month between the boys?
Maybe more than that if it could be coordinated.
I mean, it can be weekly initially, and then it could fade. You can fade out to a monthly scenario. But and you might not want to do it for the younger kids if you don't feel comfortable. Parents don't feel comfortable with that. But I think if it's a rites of passage, they have to connect with each other.
Okay, I agree with that. I think my suggestion is that those meetings may need to be facilitated. I mean, ideally it would be facilitated by a graduate, but as we don't have one right now,
Right.
But I think it would need to be facilitated, just because knowing my son, he'll get on the Zoom call and sit there like this, and he may not necessarily, he may have all this valuable input, but he's not going to share it unless there's sort of a program or guideline prompting to get. And then for him, I know that he's willing to do something grueling or something that's challenging if it's fun. And so to keep things fun, even though they are challenging, that I think that's going to be a trick for the second group. The younger ones, for the most part, whatever we do is going to be fun. But for the older ones, I feel like I've never seen a more distracted, a generation more plagued with distractions ever. And if we are plagued with these same distractions, I'm just like, imagine we never had that as kids. So what is going on with their minds when they're connecting with this technology more, and they have even more access to distractions, and they're challenged with these distractions way more than we may ever be in our lives. So we have to we have to take that into consideration, because that stuff is in the back of their minds, even when they're trying to read a book. And so we have quite a bit to combat. In terms of drumming, I definitely, I feel like, well, I have the drumming institute that I do, and I've been fleshing it out over the last year, a couple of years, and I think there are definitely a lot of connections, especially in terms of the timeline and plan that you laid out, Shamor. I think there's some definite connections in terms of what I've been designing, and I definitely agree that there's gonna have to be more consistent connection with that child, with that youth, in order to reach a level, like even a basic level of mastery. And it may be different for each instructor, but I feel like 2 sessions is gonna be challenging for that youth to feel a level of mastery. I have sort of got, I've been when I watch them in session, I know what I'm looking for, but then I realize like their parents don't know what I'm seeing. Their parents don't know what I'm watching when I see how they're developing. And so I've been fleshing it out on paper in terms of my curriculum, what all the different stages of development are in terms of the drum, and how they connect. Most of them actually connect with a character trait, a point of self-development. And so I think some of these areas of self-development that we've been discussing, I've actually been working on addressing with the drum. And so there's some definite connections there. But I definitely see that in order for me to observe one of the youth and say, okay, they've reached these, I can actually provide them with this set of goals, like almost like a badge. Like this is and which is what I've been working on with the Drum Institute anyway. I want each child who comes in to have something sort of like a clean slate, and as they achieve these mastery levels, they adorn their instrument or their sash or whatever they get with these different elements, as they reach these different mastery levels. So I can provide them and the families with sort of their goal. And so when they consider the exercises that we do in class or the games that we play in class, they say, "Oh, this is actually helping me with this." And some of the kids, like, they really get to a point where they think they know everything, and providing them that, that goal, said, this is what from my observation, you're working on right now. And they can say, "Oh, I thought I had that down. Let's talk about that." And everything that they haven't mastered yet is a particular area of development that they had to work on. That's just how self-mastery is. So I'm excited about this. I think one of our challenges is keeping it serious, but still keeping it fun, so that and this is particularly speaking with the older group, with the second group, because we want their full engagement. We want we need them to drink this Kool-Aid, because, and I hate to make once I realized where that analogy came from, I tried to stop using it. But we really, we need their total buy-in on this for those guys, because the younger ones are going to be watching it. And their level of buy-in is going to determine the younger. So,
And like you said, they should be the ones coming back. And if they're not working with the older group, they should be coming back working with the younger group.
Yep.
So, this first class is going to be vital, towards establishing going forward. Whatever we're going to be is just important, like you say, to get a total buy-in and let them know that this is your responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The interesting thing, I was not fortunate enough to be a part of a brotherhood group that was starting here in Durham some years back. They were meeting consistently and developing a rite of passage curriculum, and they all decided that before they brought any of the boys in, first the men had to solidify the group, and each of the men had to go through the passage themselves before we brought the boys through, which kind of hit me like, whoa, like, that makes sense. It's it is challenging to pull somebody through something that you haven't been yourself. And so while we can